Hey everybody, Captain CA here, and welcome back to FlatsClass YouTube. I'd like to talk about something that will change the way you look for fish. And what do I mean by that? It's about navigational software. So when I come out here every year, I bring roll-up maps. I have a software chip that I put in my Ray Marine, and I run around here and I make notes. And I'll put waypoints, I'll put trails, but I find that they don't hold up year to year. So I wanted something that would give me a little bit more of an edge. Well, I ran into Nick Gaffney at CatchMap. If you haven't checked out CatchMap, you need to try out CatchMap. I'm going to show you two videos so that you can understand, because the difference with CatchMap is the fact that the highest resolution map you can buy is nothing close to what CatchMap provides for you. So when I'm in a widescreen and I'm running to my spot, I can see where all the major bayous are, and then all the little drains where I can like idle down and get into a pond. But when I have to really zoom in, I mean really get tight, get down to like 500 feet, 250 feet, 100 feet away, like that's a cast, the resolution changes and pops into a much brighter, almost like a contrasting resolution, as you can see. And it does a fantastic job of letting me know all the little nooks, crannies, hooks, drains, small drains, what we call trenasses out here, the little clumps of cane. It does a fantastic job of showing me all that. It also shows me some water flow, where I can actually see on the map where the water's flowing through there, and on weaker tides I know where the water's still going to be moving. I'll tell you what, we'll talk about it a little bit more, and I'll show you the actual imagery. Why don't you take a look at some of this fishing action, and then we'll get behind the deal here on my console. Go watch me fish. So today I stopped at a spot for a particular reason, and it's not history. This is something that I look for on these very slow tides. Today is the first day of this, what we call the flip-flop tide, which is a very weak tide. So I have to look for zones that are going to have some type of current. Over here I've got a pass that comes off a main pass. This is kind of a little cut through, but it forces the river water and the outgoing to come through here, which is going to wash down this bank. So even though I have minimal flow today, this will be one of the spots that I have maximum flow on a slow day. So I'm definitely going to want to kind of ply the waters around here today and see if that matters, because typically when I'm down here, the water is very warm, and you've got to be fishing the zones that have current flow, have grass, and have plenty of bait. And bait varies here. It's just not mullet, it's pogies, it's shrimp, it's snails, things like that. So that's what we're looking for today. I'm going to show you right here on the chart what I'm looking at on the map. All right, this navigational software is called CatchMap, and you can see right here where I come through this pass, you can see how the water even flows here, and it will wash this entire bank here with flow. So that's why I'm checking it out today, because on a slow day that's going to be a major factor I love the detail that you get with the catch map as well. And that has to do with the guy that puts this together, because this thing actually changes in color when I blow it out a little bit. So you can get that kind of difference when you're actually running wide, like at an 1/8 mile. Once you get an 1/8 mile or so, it starts to jump back to a regular map. But when you get inside of an 1/8 of a mile, you get all that detail. I mean, you can get really detailed. So pretty impressive. I can see maybe a black drum up here. Just saw the tip of a tail, so I just prospected hoping it was a redfish. You can see how this swim jig just, if you watch it here, it comes right through this cover so clean. You just shake it a little bit and it comes right through. It is pretty cool how when you roll it through this stuff, you can just shake it through. It comes right through it, no problem. One of my favorite, by far, lures to use out here is this swim jig. I see something up here. Can't tell if it's a redfish or not. Glare so bad. Might be just mullet finning. Just on the tip of a tail. Gonna kind of glide up here. Sheep's head. Nope. He is not gonna eat something as big as a swim jig. I really ruined his morning. That came in hot and fast. He wasn't ready for that. All this like really chartreusey stuff is duckweed that's floating around in here, and you can see when it's moving you've got a little bit of current. That's a really good tell, kind of like when a golfer might throw a little bit of tuft of grass, dried grass, into the wind to see if it's moving. The fact that that duckweed's moving a little bit in here tells me I got a little current. Well, I might have blind cast because I heard a bass pop. It looks like I got a junior redfish out of it. I was like, certainly that's a bass, because right where the pop was is where I tossed it. Wow. If he's legal, he's barely legal. He's probably right at 18. But he liked that swim jig. Good looking fish. So heavy for their size in here. Let's drop them back in there. Take off. Well, we know we have some, even if we have to blind cast them in here. Water's so clear. So clear. If I'm going to blind cast, I'd probably make a bait change to a spinner bait, or maybe even on fishing the outside edges with a chatter bait. Something that'll move through that grass pretty good and make a lot of noise. And it's hard to give up on this because I want to sight fish. Even with conditions not being perfect, I definitely want to sight fish. Right here. Go, yeah, baby. I didn't even engage my reel. I didn't even engage the reel. Didn't have any time. Nice. If I had another rod ready, I could catch the second fish that's with him. Oh, man. Yeah, that swim jig is the bomb. Nice fish. These are fish I like to catch because this size and age fish is so aggressive. I don't give them a lot of drag here because I don't like getting them in the grass. And I like to wear the fish out as fast as possible. Just as fast as possible. I find by doing that, I can I can get them back in the water and they'll swim off with a good head of steam. Man, I mean, this guy, he is peed off. But I've got the weapon to neutralize his attitude pretty quick. Pretty quick. All right, let's get you in here, buddy. Get my hands around him. Oh, that's a heavy fish. I'm going to say he's probably a perfect 27. I'm betting. I call them small. It's just because we typically catch such big fish out here. Wow. Good looking fish. Let me get him back in the drink. No worse for wear. Off he goes. That whole piece right there just took about 90 seconds, 2 minutes max. But as you can see, the right places in the marsh with, you know, a weapon such as this little simple swim jig, it's just basically a bass lure, will really get the job done. So let's get back after it. So this is what it looks like at 1/8 of a mile. You can see the major bayous, you can see the lakes and the ponds in here. And I've got a video that we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you it in motion. But let me zoom in and show you, see how it gets cleaner and cleaner and cleaner no matter how tight, 250 feet. You see how you can tell where the water comes into these places, where the flow's going to be? I mean, that's some pretty good resolution. That's 250 feet. Look at this. I'm getting down to 100 feet. Look how you can see all the cane islands and everything like that. Everyone else is blown out at this point. Not this one. It is the highest resolution map software you can get. I can see all the individual broken canes here. I can see this bayou. I can see how the water filters through here. I can see the canes here. It helps me find the little grooves and stuff that are a little bit deeper, like right in here, that I'm not going to see if I have standard. I mean, 100 feet. At 100 feet, literally, you're blown out with anybody else, anyone else's software, but not this one. This is just amazing detail that you can have. And there's been many instances since I've been out here that I've needed this to figure out, you know, maybe I go back in this little lagoon and I can fish this slough back here, but I can get in right there. You can't see that with anybody else's stuff. I can get in right there where those canes are and get right through that broken spot and get back in there. You will not see that with anyone else's software. CatchMap has the highest resolution, especially for here in Louisiana, for you to be able to find those little honey holes that you thought you'd never be able to locate. This is some amazing stuff that they've created. I use it at home in some of the more treacherous areas, Chassahowitzka, Crystal River Zone, up there around Cedar Key. And even though I have my own personal tracks on it, just running on the map itself would make me feel right at home. Well, I'm getting ready to take off because I've had one long day out here. Hopefully you enjoyed some of the little bit of fishing. I showed you some of the tips there that we used as we moved through the marsh, throwing the old swim jig rig. But the bigger deal here is the ability to use the CatchMap software to help you locate fishing zones that are really productive no matter what the tide. You know, you'll be able to find the shallow spots, the deeper spots, because the resolution is so good. You'll be able to see the current seams. There's a lot of value in having that type of intelligence into your screens. For me, it's everything. It's the number one most important thing that I have on my boat once I get out here is that Raymarine screen with that CatchMap software. It lets me find places to go and fish. And, you know, even as a safety thing, I get myself in a situation where I get cut off in a piece of the marsh from a bad storm. I can look on here and trust it and know I'll have another way. I might have to run 5-6 miles out of my way, but I know that there is another way. You can't do that with every piece of mapping software. I've had a lot of them and none of them have come through for me like this one. So I'm anxious for some of you that are fishing out here in the upper Gulf Coast in the Louisiana area to try that Catch Map map card. I think you're going to be super, super impressed. If you like what you're learning and you like some of the product reviews that we do here on FlatsClass YouTube, you're enjoying the shows, the podcasts that we do, and all the tips and tricks that we pass on, well, give us that thumbs up and subscribe. I want you guys here each and every day learning something that will make you a better inshore angler. Okay, well, I'm gonna fire up the Yamaha here and get on my way. But in the meantime, you guys get out there, bend those rods over. You keep them bent, we'll keep the videos coming. Alrighty, let's go.